Super League.
2019 Betfred women's Super League champions, the Leeds Rhinos.
Absolutely fabulous.
Saints are champions of Super League again.
Hello and welcome to Betfred's Last Tackle. I'm delighted to be joined by four-time grand final winner Paul Scully and the only Brit to win the grand final in this country and in Australia. That is Adrian Morley. Gents, thanks for joining us. Let's just start with you, Scully. You've been on a few times. Obviously, thoughts are with everyone who's lost someone. There's more than just a number. That someone's, mum, dad, brother, sister, uncle, or whatever. But we're just beginning to feel there's light at the end of the tunnel as we begin to return to possibly some kind of normality.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that we all look to. I think every day how you judge it is obviously sadly is the number of deaths, and thankfully that's going down. But for every one of them, there's a family going through an awful time. So thoughts with everybody who's obviously passed away, but hopefully we're on that way down now, and things are going to start getting back to normal.
Obviously, Moz, you'll echo that. There seems light at the end of a tunnel, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it was good. I'm not a big football fan, but it was good to see a bit of German football, and that's just little bits of elements of getting back to normality. But it's been quite horrific. All the kids off school. It's not the real world really. So I think over the next coming weeks, hopefully we'll start getting back to some sort of normality. But with the football and with the NRL, I've missed watching live sport. So fingers crossed, the NRL is going to start this weekend, as we know, down under. So fingers crossed, more sport will start starting, and then we'll get back to normality. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about your time in the NRL in the show as well, Moz. But Scully, I see you've still been doing deliveries for the Steve Prescott Foundation. I mean, the one good thing to come out of all of this is it's just been brilliant how people have rallied round and helped each other.
It has. It's been amazing, hasn't it? So many good news stories that have come on the back of obviously all the downside to it. And, let's hope it continues. Let's hope it's not a fad that people are going through. Want to help each other, and then as soon as we get back to normality, we're going back into our selfish ways. So yeah, it's been good. I've really enjoyed getting out and obviously doing my little bit with the foundation and the Eccleston Arms. I mean we've even gone into a drive-through mode now as well. So there's burgers on. Obviously all the burger places have all been shut. So I think there's a real request for them. So yeah, they brought in this weekend like a drive-through at the Ecky Arms, and it's been phenomenal. I mean the food is sensational. So another great service to be able to help the people of Central Lands.
And Scully, you've surprised quite a few Saints fans, haven't you, by actually rocking up on a doorstep, and quite a few have been surprised when it's been you delivering the food.
Yeah, it's been nice. It's been really nice. Obviously, a few have been disappointed as well that it's not been Johnny Vegas. mainly the older women. So it's been good, mate. It's a play to everybody. I know we mention them every time I come on. The Eccleston Arms, Blackbrook Open Age, all the volunteers, all the girls who are taking all the phone calls, in there, and then obviously the Steve Prescott ambassadors and obviously Martin Blondell and Lindsay for everything they've done. So yeah, it's been great, and just seeing them, that bit of good news and that positive vibe around the town in such a difficult circumstance. And
Moz, I know that the Salford Foundation have been doing a lot, haven't they, for helping people. So rugby league has really got involved and got right stuck into this crisis.
It has, and that's what rugby league people do in times of any crisis. They always help each other. We're all one big family at the end of the day. So they've been doing their bit, and as Breeze is, he's been doing that with you as well. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I speak to Breeze regular, and he said he's been doing a bit. So fantastic, and that just take me out to you boys. It's great what you're doing.
They didn't know whether it was Breezy though or Brian Blessed.
I know, yeah, he's got the big beard. I know.
That's a shocking beard.
What's he thinking?
There's a few lockdown beards going on at the moment, isn't there? Right, let's turn back the clock to a lot happier times then. So, Moz, take us back. What happened when Sydney Roosters signed you? How did you find out? And like, you're only a young lad as well. You must have had a bit of a hesitation, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I was only 23 years old, but I toured Australia with Scully and Great Britain in '99, and we played the Aussies up in Brisbane, and I played well. We got a good hiding actually, but I must have did all right because the great Arthur Beats had come up to me in the players' bar with Nick Politis, who's the owner of the Roosters, and he said, "I want to talk to you about coming out and playing in Australia." Now, I didn't think too much of it at the time, but about 2 weeks later, Graham Murray, who coached me at Leeds for a couple of years, he got the head coaching position there at the Roosters. And that's when I thought, if I was going to go anywhere, I'd like to go with Graham because I know him, know how he works, etc. I got on great with him. And then I had a decision to make. So I played Super League 2000. That's when I was thinking, should I go, should I not go? And then, because it was a big decision, even when I was at Leeds, I used to live in Salford. I used to travel every day. It's one thing not wanting to move to the other end of the M62, but it's another thing going to the other side of the world. So, but I thought, if I don't go now, I might not get another opportunity. So I made the decision to go. As I say, I was still only 23, never lived on my own before, and so it was a big move. So, but you know, having spent just a couple of months there, I knew it was the right decision, and absolutely loved my time down under. It was a fantastic move for me. Enjoyed every minute of playing down there. 6 years I did in the NRL, and it was wonderful times.
And I remember you telling me before that even when you rocked up at the airport, you were amazed because, you know, we all love rugby league, but there was, 3 or 4 film crews when you landed in Australia waiting for you.
Yeah, there was, and I thought there must be a pop star or a film star on the plane, and I looked round and they all come over to me and they said, you know, will you give us an interview and whatnot, because I didn't realise how big the sport was, particularly in Sydney, because it was big news. You know, at the time there was no English players playing over there, and it was quite big news. And I must admit I did enjoy the attention. It's something I wasn't used to back in the UK, and it was great. I mean, if you look at pick up a newspaper over there in Sydney, there's like 3 or 4 pages of rugby league, then there might be half a page of other sports, so it does get a massive amount of coverage in the papers. But as I say, it was something I wasn't used to, you know, coming from the north of England. It was something I did enjoy, but it was with that comes a lot of pressure. You know, I did all these interviews. The first week I was there, probably did about 25 interviews in total, either on the phone or in person. But that's when the pressure started mounting. Things, right, I've got to perform here. It's pressure's on me here. But the first year didn't go as well as I would have liked. I actually broke my arm just when I was getting a bit of form together. I broke my arm halfway through the year, so that knocked me back a bit. And then Graham Murray, he actually got the sack at the end of that first year, so I didn't know where I stood. But Ricky Stewart phoned me up and said, "Look, I can assure you, my plans for next year if you want to come back." And went back. And the second year, you know, that's when I got used to living away from home, and you know, went really well. The second year, we actually won took out the title and won the grand final. So it was all plain sailing after that first year, really.
Scully, look, you must have had your offers. Were you ever tempted to go and play in Australia?
Yeah, I had 2 offers. Funnily enough, one was Roosters and the other one was Penrith. A bit different for me than Moz. Obviously, I was married and I had a young kid as well at the time, and probably more the family reason why I didn't go. I mean, even financially, I think over here we were better at the time. We weren't strictly salary capped, and I know it's not all about money and what have you, but there was more cons than pros really of not going in. I was thoroughly enjoying my time at Saints as well. I just signed a new 5-year deal, so yeah, that's, you know, I think it's something that everybody would love to do, but it's got to be right for you for so many reasons. And for me, there was just more reasons to stay than go and do that. You know, I think it's one of those where you want to play in the best comp in the world and play against the best players. But, you know, I was fortunate I did that at international level. And if it's one way you're going to test yourself, then, you know, I tested myself against the Aussies. And, you know, I think it did all right.
No, you didn't do so bad, Scully. And Moz, to be fair, what Scully was saying, you've always said to me that, look, you won the grand final here. You won the grand final when you were with Sydney Roosters. You said the proudest moment, you Captain Warrington as well, didn't you? But you said that the proudest moment for you was always putting on the England or Great Britain shirt.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I was very fortunate throughout my club career that virtually every club I went to, we won something of note. But I'll always say the proudest moment for me as a rugby league professional was representing either England or Great Britain. And it was first time I did it, all the hair stood up on your neck, and, I thought I could get used to this. And thankfully I had a long international career. But just want to echo what Scully said before. I actually got offered more money to stay in the UK in the Super League. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still got paid well out there at the Sydney Roosters, but I did get offered more money to stay in the UK, but I went for the experience, for the challenge now. But I would love to have gone out. I'd love to have been in my prime now, because they do get paid a lot more money now in the NRL, and it's gone the other way now, hasn't it? You get paid more out there. But it was a great experience, and something I certainly wouldn't change.
Do you think it made you a better player, Moz?
I think so. Yeah. I just think if you're, in that zone every week where it's a higher level of intensity and playing against better players. But before I left the Super League and when I come back to the Super League, it's still a fantastic competition. But I do think there's a better quality of player in the NRL. So I do think it shows international level. The Aussies and the Kiwis, they just seem to have a bit of an edge over England and Great Britain at the moment. But I think that's all due to the NRL, how intense the competition is, and it just bring out that on an international level.
I think on top of that, Moz, as well, obviously, we talk about top players, and I think our top player, what the biggest strength for me of what the NRL is that pool of players, that are the same level. Whereas ours, you've got your top players, and I think we shouldn't underestimate the quality we've got in Super League when you look at the English-based players now that are playing in the NRL. Mm-hmm. After a lot of our players, because that quality of player is in Super League, what they've got is a bigger pool of them players. Hence why the teams are consistently stronger, and the competitions are more fierce week in, week out. We do still have, no matter what anybody says, we have a split competition of the quality sides compared to the top sides.
Would you agree with that, Moz?
Yeah, I agree. I mean that was one I found coming from the UK. There was probably 4 teams. There was at the time Wigan, Saints, Bradford, and Leeds. And Wellington boys, we were going to win. But then there was like another tier, another 4 teams who you could beat. It would be tough for a while. Warrington, Castleford, Demcat. Then there was another tier of really poor teams like Salford and Huddersfield at the time. Whereas over there, home or away, no matter who you played, you had to be on your game every week. And I think we got beat twice off Penrith, and they finished wooden spoon. And then we beat Brisbane twice. They finished minor premier. So anyone on the day can beat anyone. So I just think that was the difference. But totally agree with you, Scully. Whereas we get our best 17, 18 players on the park at the end of the year. We'd give the Aussies a go. But if we did get a couple of injuries, that's when we tend to struggle in the test matches. But we did have a great set of elite players, but just not enough of them. And I think the Aussies and the Kiwis, they have got a bigger pool, as you say, mate.
Scully, is the Betfred Super League playing catch-up a bit, though? We've news last week, Greg Inglis is signing. Sonny Bill Williams over here as well. Maloney, there's some, great players now.
100%, and this is certainly not a dig at Super League at all. We're passionate about that, and people talk about the signing of Inglis. It can only be great for our game, to have one of the best players that's ever pulled a shirt on. Now playing in the Super League, and talk of Sonny Bill and Maloney, and some quality players. Biggest stars of our game. So yeah, and do you know what? We've got a lot of good young players. I'm very fortunate to be involved in the England setup and working with the England boys and the England Knights, and you see some of the young players coming through. And credit, because it's not only a couple of years back. Luke Thompson was a young up and coming player. Look at the mark he's made. All right, yeah, he's going he's another one who's going to the NRL, and that's all great respect for our game. You know, they want to sign players from England, so we certainly shouldn't underestimate the quality that we can show.
And Scully, I saw James Graham on your bikeathon. That amazing 26 hours he did on a watt bike, incredible. Now he came on as a guest. Now, reading between the lines, I saw him as a guest on your show and thought, well, he's going to come back to the Super League soon, probably. I got that impression.
Yeah, I mean, it was a mixed message really off Jammer. Obviously, he's always going to be touted with he's one of St Helens' favourite sons, isn't he? And I think from the day he signed for Canterbury, people have been asking when's he ever going to come back to St Helens, and obviously now talk of him being out of contract and will he come back? Me personally, don't think he will. I think obviously he's got his ambitions on doing all the stuff, and he's settled, got family in Australia now as well, and they've just going off the messages what he said, but he's been a great player and could still do a job.
Let's talk about the NRL. As we record this, we don't know when the Betfred Super League is going to be back. Obviously, there's a lot of talk going on behind the scenes with the RFL and the Super League as well. They're talking to the government. It looks like the Premier League will be back in some form, possibly either the 19th, 26th, or even July. They haven't got a return date yet. But I think the Betfred Super League can probably learn a lot from the NRL, which starts this week, Moz.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's great. It's a minor miracle that Australia, the Rugby League have got it on down there. So fingers crossed it all goes well down there, and that'll give us the pointers really to get our competition back on track. But it's good to I think for training in small groups. So fingers crossed. I really have missed me sport in general, but particularly rugby league. But fingers crossed. But I don't know how it'll be with behind closed doors. I've never had to experience that, thankfully. So I think it'll be very strange for the players. You do love the roar of the crowd and the big hits and the cheers that brings on. So it will be strange, but I'd rather play in front of no one than not play at all, really. But it will be strange. But as soon as we get rugby league back on track in any form, I think it's only good.
Scully, we heard Ralph Rimmer the other week say that it's probably going to be an imperfect world when we come back, and there's going to have to be compromises. So the NRL have gone for a 20-round season now, haven't they? They're just going to be using 6 grounds and stuff like that. It's unfortunately might be the things we have to do when the Super League comes back. We're going to have to make some compromises, aren't we?
Yeah, I think there's got to be some compromises. Obviously, the calendar. The perfect scenario would be play every game at your own stadium and fans be there, but that's not going to work. And there's going to be pain taken by every club, I'm sure. But as you say, it's, you'd rather lose a quid than a fiver. It's you just want to get back out there and get back to some sort of normality and get things moving again. It's got to be safe to do that. And unfortunately, like you said, there's got to be a bit of pain suffering in the meantime, but at least we'll be playing. Obviously the broadcasters will get some games on TV, and people can enjoy rugby league again. I've just seen the trailer for the NRL return of playing. The video, and it certainly makes the hairs on your neck stand up. And I just can't wait till that's obviously Super League. And hopefully we're not too far away.
Your old club are joint favourites, Moz, the Sydney Roosters. We obviously saw them at St Helens recently. I mean, that grand final last year against Canberra, that was a hell of a game, wasn't it?
It was a fantastic, advert for our game. And I was torn, really, because, Canberra had the English players. So if Canberra would have been playing anyone else, I would have gone for them boys. But still have to go with the old Roosters. But it was a classic game. It was, it was like a heavyweight boxer on the ropes, the Roosters, and then bang, they just found that knockout blow at the end. But it was a great game, a little bit of controversy as well. But I was delighted for the Roosters. No club have gone back to back over there for 20 odd years, so delighted for them. I got to catch up with them again when they come over for the World Cup Challenge, but they're not doing that good this year. I know the joint favourites, but I think they've lost 2 out of 2 so far. I know it's been disrupted to a massive degree. But I think Canberra, you know, they say you've got to lose a grand final to win a grand final. They've played 2 and won 2, so I think Canberra will have their say at the end of the year. But delighted it's back, and it's going to be a fascinating competition.
Cooper Cronk retired. How good was he, Cooper Cronk?
Oh, incredible! Yeah, if you look at his performances, wherever he's played, you know, for club, for state, for country, he's been absolutely fantastic. And I think it was because of him that was he had a massive say in the Roosters' victory there. So it will be a loss, but you know, these champion players, they seem to churn them out quite regular over in Australia. So I'm sure we'll see another Cooper Cronk emerge at some club, but I'll be cheering the Roosters on. That's no doubt about that.
And the Roosters kick off versus South Sydney. So what's the Sydney derby like then, Moz?
Oh, brilliant, fantastic. I mean, when the first year I was there, South Sydney weren't actually in the competition. They'd been asked to leave a couple of years before, but there was massive campaigns and people, you know, wanting the South Sydney back, and they eventually got that. And our first game of the season in 2002 was against the Roosters, and there was 30,000 people there. Russell Crowe come on with he rang a bell with a 90-year-old war veteran. It was really, really emotional. But you know, that's the big rivals, you know, the Roosters and the South. So it was great to be involved in that. We did have the edge over him when I was there, but I think the Roosters, Souths have had their say over the last few years. But it's absolutely great playing in them derbies. And one of the Burgess boys is still there at South Sydney, so I like to keep my eye on all the English boys over there. And but I'll still be cheering the Roosters on though.
We mentioned Canberra Raiders there. I mean, John Bateman seemed to have a very good term last season, Scully.
Yeah, he had an outstanding year, didn't he? He made a real impact on the NRL, and I think he got in team of the year, and you know, the Dally M team, and you know, to do that in your first season in Australia, we know what Bat is about. You know, when he went over, he's just an out and out competitor. You know, and he certainly didn't change his ways when he went over playing for Canberra. So, you know, and just respect to these guys who come through Super League. It's always something that Wayne Bennett used to say to the England boys was, you know, don't underestimate your competition and where you're from. He said, and you know, all these guys who are not only playing in the NRL, but some of the shining stars of the NRL from England. They've learned the rugby in England. They've played in Super League, and now they're doing that. So don't underestimate how good these players are. And obviously, Batty went over with that in mind, that you know, he went out and did what he always did at Wigan.
Yeah, a hell of a season. It was a hell of a final as well. Who do you fancy for the NRL this year, then, Scully?
I think the two that we spoke about. I mean, I don't know too much about a lot of the other teams. Obviously, like Moz, you know, you follow the ones who you know the players. Obviously, Canberra, one of them, and you know, I watched the first two rounds, and obviously George Williams is over there now as well with Canberra. He had a good game in the second one. So for me, I'd love to see Canberra do it just for the Englishman in me, and you know, supporting them boys.
And we saw, obviously, the Sydney Roosters at the Totally Wicked Stadium, didn't we, in the World Club Challenge? I mean, that seems like years ago, doesn't it? It was probably only about 3 months ago, wasn't it? And obviously that was before their season started. But I think Saints were unlucky that night in some respects. Or did Saints not take their chances?
They didn't take the chances. They certainly created enough opportunities to win the game, without a doubt. And you know, but I think both teams have players missing, no doubt, and you know, a few young players on the edges at Saints. But we created the opportunity, weren't clinical enough to turn that into points. And you only get so many chances against the good sides. And as I said, the experience of the Roosters, you know, double back-to-back grand final winners, you're only going to get so many opportunities. But we created them, we just unfortunately didn't finish them. But I'm sure a lot of positives taken out of that game for a lot of them young players that played in it.
Gents, we're running out of time. So look, the NRL is back this Thursday. You've got Brisbane Broncos versus Parramatta Friday. North Queensland versus the Gold Coast Titans. And then you've got Sydney Roosters, Moz's old team, versus South Sydney as well. important, I think, at the moment with all that's going on is staying fit. Now, Scully, you're a nutter. You did that 26-hour bike ride. What else have you been doing to keep fit?
Oh, mate, just pretty much training every day. I'm lucky I've got all the gear at home, and yeah, just put myself on a bit of a training camp. You know, to get up and get on it every morning. You know, obviously you want to keep fit and healthy, but you know, I think at this time, I think exercise is one of the best things for your mind as well, and it certainly is for me. I love testing myself and pushing myself, and obviously getting out there and keeping fit. So yeah, keep it going, and see what nick we can get in when it comes when they let us out.
You're not making a comeback.
We'll have to see if anybody needs a loose forward when it's.
Well, you've been in plenty of Ultimate Dream teams as well. So have you, Moz, that the Super League have been doing recently. Moz, I hope you've been training and not just training now.
No, I've been doing, well, a bit of both actually, but I've been, I like my running, so I've been getting out, and it's the perfect storm, really. Lots of free time and weather's lovely, so I've been getting out, running on my bike, and also doing a bit of, I've not got the luxury of a gym at home as Scully has, so I have been missing doing a bit of weights here and there, but I've been doing a bit of aerobics actually with a wife, which is different, but been enjoying it, so all good.
It's all coming out now.
Yeah.
With the wife.
That's right.
Lockdown's been very, very good. Gents, really enjoyed your company, and the NRL starts this Thursday, so I think the Betfred Super League can learn a lot from Matt's return as well. But gents, thanks for your company, and to everyone watching this, thanks for watching, and stay safe.
Sensational from Blake Austin. He can! Toronto are heading for Super League.
2019 Betfred women's Super League champions, the Leeds Rhinos.
Absolutely fabulous.
Saints are champions of Super League